We've had representation from the other 3 nations within the V4, but now it's time for the Hungarian team. Gamerzone.gg, if we want to be polite and give them the full name, going up against MIBR. Drowlin, you've got Yona beside you, but I'm going to start with you because this is the home team. Why don't you give us a little run-through?
Yeah, so Gamerzone is, of course, representing the hopes and dreams of the region here right now. And the interesting storyline with them is that they were actually not seen as the favorites to come through the qualifier. Obviously, 2 big dogs in this scene, like Salamander and Budapest 5. Those are the 2 teams which usually get out to this level. But this guy just showed up, plowed through the qualifier, and now they're here. Which is cool because in the Hungarian scene, like usually you see the same 7 or 8 players make it out to this level if they make it out at all. So right now, this is something fresh. We see something else that the scene has to offer.
It sounds so familiar from a lot of the scenes that are kind of not there yet. You know,
Maybe
it's only
Finland?
Finland being a great example of, you know, for better part of a decade, right? You have the same players, you know, trying their best, and then nothing really coming out of it before the new generation kicked in and made some things happen.
You tried hard, though, when you were a player. You did try hard not to.
I did.
I think those are the last glory days.
Yeah, and it's been a long time ago.
Yeah.
You would have to actually go back to like 07 to like 2010.
Original 3D Max days.
Though that not even that actually.
Yeah, before that. Yeah, I was going to say, because my first, just to go off topic a little bit, my first encounter with you was you guys playing at Copenhagen Games on laptops.
Oh, yes.
For CSGO as part of a promotion.
Oh, yeah. That sounds like a lot of fun.
It was not. I don't think you guys were very happy with the situation at all. But I'm happy with this situation, and to tell you that we do have introductions for each team. So we'll start it off by looking at Gamerzone, because, again, they are the hometown heroes. And as Drowlin said, making an appearance at a land otherwise not known to them.
Hello, my name is Holec Arbi Kornél.
Huszár Bence.
Szedlár Kori Kornél.
Német Crazy Deer Gábor.
Torzsás Torzsi Ádám.
Shots of Palinka for all, I'm sure. There's the 5 hopefuls looking to take on MIBR. Player to watch, Drowlin. Highlighted on HLTV, I will say, is Torzi. Do you agree with that? What experience do you have with these guys, I suppose?
Oh, yes. He's the youngest in the team, I believe, on 17, so he's definitely that young star breaking on this scene. I believe he does have a WAG ban, which is...
That was
like,
right,
yes,
yeah, like 3 years ago or something.
I don't know the details, so it might not even be in CSGO. So, but that's like not a good mark to have in your career, because obviously with the whole Valve events and stuff, that's a bit difficult. But he's definitely the player to watch alongside Corey, who is part of that entry pack, which goes in first. Obviously, Rifler, also very talented. So I will keep my eye on those 2 moving forward.
Mm-hmm. And certainly the AWP you were mentioning to Yona just off camera is an attribute to this team that's going to be solid.
Yes. I mean, the difficult part here is obviously you're facing MIBR. So, yeah,
it's not easy.
I mean, you might as well just say it. It's the elephant in the room, sure.
Yeah, obviously. But even so, like, as an AWPer, especially as a star of the team, like, people like expect you to move the team forward, especially against such a hard opponent as MIBR. But when you're facing this team, you have not only 1 but 2 world-class AWPers you have to defeat, right? You have Fallen and then KNG on the other side. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that's rough.
Yeah, and KNG, obviously, we just got to see a sneak peek of in Moscow.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's going to add just a layer of firepower into this team. A team that has been going through a phase where they've not had a full lineup for better parts of what it's been like 3 months or so. Yep. But actually, they did fairly well. They made it to the semifinals in Chicago, for example. They beat G2 in a best of 3.
With Zeus.
Yeah, with Zeus playing. They managed to... they won 1 game at the Berlin Major, so meaning they don't have to go back to the minor system, which is obviously good for them. And now finally they've had, a couple weeks to play with this lineup. So there's still a lot of question marks. It's still a work in progress for these guys. Yep. But like you were saying, I mean, it's still going to be tough for the Hungarian boys to try to make something. Because you have players like KNG, you have Fer, for example, who's going to be very aggressive and taking opportunities, lurking smokes, making plays. So it's a tough one for them to
we'll take a look at a little video of them, because I want to make a few points when we come back that'll lead us straight into the game. So please, without a team that doesn't really need introduction, take a look at MIBR.
Hello everyone, my name is Gabriel.
Fernando.
Vitor.
Lucas.
Pistachio.
I play for Made in Brazil and I'm the in-game leader of the team.
And I am the interfragger for Team MIBR.
I play for MIBR and I am AWP.
I am anti-fragger of MIBR.
I'm most likely a support player for Team MIBR.
And I'm Sidicist. I'm most likely a host. It sounds like Taco doesn't know his role in this new team with some new players coming in.
Yeah, I mean, he's had some great games recently at the Major. He was basically the one that gave his team opportunities to win. So you can't really define it, can you?
No, but KNG, let's focus on that. First and foremost, wearing Hugo Boss glasses that still had the brand name on the lens. Doesn't actually need those, and I'm not going to prove it, so please don't kill me. But Drowlin, having him on the second off, that looks pretty solid.
Yeah, and it's really great because, you know, Fallen mentioned it in several interviews that the arrival of KNG has allowed him to move into a more of a supportive role. Obviously, he's still picking up the op, but it's easier for him to like micromanage the team and be a part of the executes when you don't have to like hold the angles with the op. And it's also allowed Fer to be a bit more active because if you look back at Moscow, I actually think HLTV made a tweet where he had the highest opening kill success rate of his career. So like
which alleviating, is impressive.
Yes, especially for a player like a Fer. So alleviating that pressure from both players, it will propel MIBR into the right direction.
Yeah, in my opinion, MIBR was a team, especially back in the day when they were known as SK, a team that really did all the little tiny details so well. They were phenomenal when it came down to like retakes, when it came to like the 3-on-3 situation. That included a lot of improvising. It just felt to me like they had everything on point. You know, they were flashing for teammates, making peaks together. Everything was just functioning so well, and they kind of lost a touch at some point along the line. So I think that's something that they're going to want to try to build up once again.
And I made the meme, but obviously KNG's return to a top team is pretty significant. It was a long path,
it's been a while,
journey for him. Absolutely. Noah Winston's obviously left the organization as well. I think that partly opened the door for them.
Probably did.
But you have to consider as well, you mentioned it, having KNG and not having Fallen, having to hold those angles can kind of free himself up. The last time, although there has been periods when Cold kind of picked it up, the last time we saw Fallen not as the main op on this team was way back, like before Luminosity, when they were still
Keith Stars, I believe, or Kaboom.
Kaboom or Keith, exactly.
Yeah.
When ZQK was, Zikukla apparently is how you say it in Portuguese, but was still on the team. That's a long time before they've had another main opper.
Yeah, and I'm looking at KNG actually, and this is one of the silver linings for gamerzone here is I don't think they have implemented him 100% into the lineup yet. Because usually when you're like a player with a distinct playstyle like KNG and you come to a new team, you know, you're not going to come out the doors blazing, you know, with your own definite playstyle. You first look at what the team's game plan is, and then try to adapt your own playstyle into that structure. So I kind of saw it at Moscow as well. You didn't really see him you had a few highlights, obviously, but not the carry performance that we go to expect from him from his Immortals time.
And certainly the Immortals run in Krakow, he was a huge part of that, and that's when people saw his potential. It was a shame because that team obviously then went to DreamHack Montreal. Henny and Lucas being involved with that, one of those guys here again now. That was when we saw the downfall of that entire lineup, let alone KNG. Just going to get straight into it. Maps, I've got them here. I have to look down because, unfortunately, they're predetermined. Ban from Vertigo, that was Gamerzone. Ban of Nuke from MIBR. We then go Inferno, where CT will be MIBR. My phone has decided to shut off the screen, so let's pull it back up. Train, and then Mirage was left over. So Inferno, Train, Mirage.
I mean, Inferno is a map where we've kind of seen a little bit of weakness from MIBR recently, so it makes sense in that sense. But the same you're looking at Mirage, for example, as a decider, if it would go that far, MIBR has actually been playing really good on it. And then picking on Train, you know, they've had some good games against proper teams as a reason, and it's pretty much a vintage map for them. So there's hard to find that silver lining in terms of this scenario, being a best of 3 and all.
Well, look, I've been talking to the Gamerzone boys beforehand this tournament, and they
intel.
Yeah, they are well aware of the odds they are facing, and that's why they have been preparing every single day, right? They're trying to make up like innovative strats, everything. So this Inferno pick right here, just comes to prove that MIBR, usually they ban Nuke and they also tend to ban Inferno later on. And gamerzone picking Inferno is a suggestion that, you know, you might see something there.
It's such a weird one for me, the map pool of MIBR throughout the course of their career as a team. If you look at the core, certainly now Fur and Fallen are the two remaining from Kaboom, but they loved Dust 2, brought in some new players, hated it, got 16-0'd on it against Fnatic in DreamHack Winter, never went back to it. In fact, lost to Na'Vi at the Major. In fact, before that at Cluj. Inferno was like their best map for a while. Inferno leaves the pool, comes back. They don't touch it. Now, they can play every map. They just it seems like they struggle to implement their own strategy, and they just say, nope, we don't want to touch it.
Yeah, and I think they first surfaced by having some scalps on Mirage. That was like the very early days of this core of this lineup coming to the international scene. And I reminisce on them owning on Overpass, you know, a map that takes a lot of utility usage in a very clever way, and gives a lot of room for those little plays in 3-on-3s and such. So, yeah, it's a team that definitely should have a very versatile map pool, but it kind of keeps on going back and forth. But then again, it's kind of the same for a lot of the teams, right? You just don't necessarily keep it on a certain level for a longer period of time.
Yeah, you definitely develop it, but I guess to really drive the point home, the way that I feel with MIBR is as soon as they have one bad result, and they can't play their default, or they just go, nah, forget it, move on to the next one, which is fine because it means they're willing to work on new maps. But I feel like sometimes they should persevere on a few of those maps and really grind it out. They were the ones that brought in the Molotov strategy on Inferno. Formerly, it was easier when you had the white gate. You could throw through things were a little easier to hit new box. You could throw the 3 Molotovs. Now they've had to reinvent it, but it seems like they can't get banana control like they used to. It's so different for them. Yeah,
because you have to think about MIBR, and looking back, it's like every time they brought in a new 5th player, it's like the style changed a little bit, like with Bolts, Phelps, and now KNG. Obviously, Coldzera was a more passive type of star player, and now they bring in KNG, who's a more active, aggressive type. So maybe that's why they don't really feel comfortable with the Inferno pick just yet. But I guess like as we move along in time, that might also like be added to their map pool.
Yeah, and I have to remember they've also brought in Lucas not too long ago as well. So there's a lot of change in the dynamic. So they're really on a rebuilding phase. And now when you don't have Fallen, necessarily in that number 1 Opera spot anymore, how is that going to change long term for them?
And it's interesting as well because you bring in KNG to that number 1 op when Henny, Lucas's identical twin brother, is an Opera, and they didn't go toward him, which would have, if they were looking for an Opera, been the logical, I guess, conclusion for most people.
We've heard them say, MIBR boys themselves, they've been looking at KNG for the longest time. But for obvious reasons, it just wasn't possible.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's right. And I did mention it. Obviously, Noah Winston now has MIBR, was the Immortals ownership, and MIBR is part of the Immortals family, essentially. He's moved on. He was the one that essentially said, I will never have him on a team again, based on what happened in Montreal. So that, again, opened the door. So that said, we're going to open the window right down below me. That's actually where they're sitting. This is a representation of their true size. It's Tom Biz and Jay Kaplan. How you guys doing?
Doing good. I don't know if that window's big enough to fit both of us in it, though. At least to go through it.
Well, you're a giant.
That is true. His chair is actually boosted up on boxes. Mine's dug into the ground specifically to balance us out correctly.
It's where you belong as well.
Thanks. Just like my career, I guess. But yeah, we're going to move it into our first map. It's going to be Inferno between MIBR and, of course, gamerzone. I'm excited to see how MIBR adjust over time. Obviously, you heard them on the desk talking about how every time they add a new player to the team, and there's a new iteration of the team, they have to change some strategies and in the rebuilding phase. But I want to see how this team does in particular, because in Moscow, there's some signs of life. Obviously, at the Major, having Zeus play, the coach for the team, is a little bit different. But I'm curious to see where they go from here on.
Well, I think this is also a great tournament for them. Going into sort of the blast stage of things where it's like, it's best of ones a lot of the time, and you're in against some of the top teams straight off the bat. It's a little bit different to coming in and playing against a team that's like a heavy underdog versus you. Of course, there's a bit of pressure in that aspect where you can go, okay, well, if we lose this, then we're going to have the pressure right back on us from our org, our fans, everyone. But you can also go like, okay, this is where we can sort of maybe build up a little bit of synergy together. Like, we can have a bit of fun. Like, we can enjoy ourselves within these first few matches because we are heavy favorites. And this is the sort of map where I'm actually really looking forward to seeing Fur more than anyone else, because Fur is probably one of the ultimate no respect players. Like, him and JW are two where I can expect them to go aggressive on any map at any time in any place. And he's just so enjoyable to watch. And I think if you give him even the smallest amount of space on a map like Inferno, he's going to be down banana taking aggressive fights with an MP9. Like, that's pretty much his gun. Like, the MP9 was formed with him. Like, he was born with it, just holding it. And,
yeah. He was born in America?
Sure, why not?
Sorry. Anyways, that was a bad
No,
joke.
he was made in Brazil.
Well, we have a spot for a caster tomorrow if anyone wants to join in. That's in the Budapest area. The thing is, I look at this matchup, you want to say MIBR, that should be the team, that should be the favorites. I almost want to say confidently they should be winning this as well, but after the last match we just saw between Mouse Sports and E-Rival, who knows what's going to happen. But I think, what's smart for MIBR, playing as many tournaments as possible, obviously with KNG joining the team. The best practice you can get is obviously a tournament. And everything is on the line, and it looks like we're going to see gamerzone initially go for some control over towards A. We can see MIBR have pushed 2 players up Banana immediately here to help defend against this, and Fallen is going to be the first point of contact.
Yeah, they actually managed to wrap back around, though, and killing that player off the bottom of Banana will actually help them out significantly. It leaves Fur alone. He only has 24 HP, and Fallen is kind of trapped. He needs to try and wrap back around and get that kill, and that's exactly what he's going to do. And Fur's caught another one while on the side. Now, he doesn't need to peek, but this is what I'm talking about. Aggressive once again, finding the kills, and he even finishes off the final one. 24 HP, 2 extra kills, and 3 total. A great start from MIBR.
Yeah, fantastic start, and this is what we're going to need to see out of them. gamerzone, obviously they have a lot of pressure on their side, beating out teams that are considered the stronger teams in Hungary. They obviously have to, live up to the hype now of being able to beat against them, like Salamander in Budapest 5. And this is, I think, one of the perfect challenges for them. I mean, the thing is, if you look at this group on paper, you would say MIBR and NIP should be the 2 teams, first and second place. Obviously, the order can change around quite a bit. But I don't know if we could potentially have an upset in this group because of it.
Yeah, both teams as well. There's some questions behind them. Like NIP have been on. Well, I suppose you could say both of them have been on a bit of a downward spiral and have made changes. Like obviously they didn't play like the major with Plopsky or within it, so it's a little bit different. But yeah, it's going to be a proving ground for both of these teams, like whether or not something else needs to change. I think for MIBR, this is, again, one of the first rosters I've seen recently. I'm actually excited to see what they're going to do. Like, I was excited by the new Cloud9 roster while I was at Arctic, and they were a little bit disappointing. But yeah, I think there's definite prospects for this team, like bringing in not only KNG recently, but also Lucas. Like they're definitely showing the willingness to adapt rather than just bringing in one player, taking out another. And also you have to bear in mind that both these players within their careers like have not yet achieved the likes of players like Fallen. Like they're gonna have that sort of passion to get things back, and that's something that's not mentioned so often, is the fact that, okay, sure, they got to like a major final before, at least like with KNG, for example, but they haven't had the sort of drive with players who are desperate to win these sort of tournaments for quite a while. Like that's one of the things that really brought this this Brazilian roster to the forefront when they were Luminosity, is that they seem to want it more than anyone.
And I wonder how bad Fallen and Taco won it. Like the fact that they were one of the best teams, or they were the best team in the world for a period of time, and then the fall from grace that happens. Once you have that taste of victory and that taste of being the best, that thirst doesn't go away. You want it even more the next time around, and obviously with the roster changes they've been using or doing, you can see that thirst is definitely still there. It's just whether or not they found that magic combination of players that they need to get back to that point, to dislodge the likes of Astralis and Team Liquid.
Yeah, for sure. And this is definitely one of the tournaments that they could start with. Like, I think Mouse Sports are the team that we sort of lean towards as one of the favorites, but MIBR have to be up there as well. They're a lot less proven with the current roster, but I think just even looking at the individual pieces, you have to put them at least within like the semi-finals of this event. So they managed to do that also with a coach, like previously, as said, when they beat G2. So if they can do it with a coach, they should easily be able to do it with KNG.
We're going to see here, and I mean, the funny thing is, KNG hasn't had a lot of time to really prepare with the team. It's just been back-to-back tournaments for him now. And I'm not sure if it's going to let up too much further down the line. I see the push coming in towards A. Top going to be waiting on the planter, but unfortunately, that's going to be a lot of kills coming in for the side of gamerzone. Corey, a little bit of a TK there, but not going to matter too much. Fur going to be the last alive. And he's just going to be saving his M4 here into the next round. gamerzone need to pick up the bomb, though, and get it to the site. And that's a good start. They kind of catch them out off guard. I mean, MIBR didn't have the best of weapons, obviously, into that round. They had a couple of SMGs. But I think this is a much-needed round for gamerzone. Like, confidence, I think, is going to play a major factor. Like, you weren't even supposed to be here necessarily. Like, you weren't even the team pitted to win the qualifier, and then you qualify. And hey, your first match, MIBR. This is your proving ground, and the pressure must be on their side. I feel like it's got to be insurmountable at some points, that they're going to need confidence. They're going to need it out of some big plays, individual or team-wise, to really get rallied up and going in this game.
Yeah, for sure. I think that like we need to see similar things to what we had in the last map, where we managed to see the guys get themselves rolling, like Connor play very well. I think if you have an individual that starts like performing to a higher level, then it can bring up the rest of the team.
Definitely.
Of course, didn't manage to close it out, of course, but hey, I think it's also important to get off to a strong start, especially on a map like Inferno. If you can reduce the amount of utility that your opponent has, stop them being able to get all the grenades, all the weaponry necessary, and can get off to a good start yourself and start building up economy, then there's still opportunities for them here.
Oh. Currently fallen for at 4 kills apiece for their team. And we have Crazy Deer and Torsi, the only two to actually have kills on their side. It's still early times, but look at this. Round 4, we see the op picked up for Torsi right off the bat for T side. And KNG's gonna be picking up one as well. Do you think we're likely to see double up setup for MIBR here on Inferno if what MIBR do, more importantly, get their economy going in a way that they allow it?
I don't see why not. You got 2 fantastic AWPers on your team. I don't think it'll be a necessity, but like if they feel like it in a certain round, maybe we want to bring one over extra on towards that B site, then sure, there's absolutely no problem with that. I don't think it's necessarily the best map for it, but like we saw like Chris J and Woxic do it. I think this is another
Connor and Devil did it as well.
Yeah, this is another very scary AWP setup that we have on this side. Like Fallen is previously the best AWPer in the world. And then KNG is like the up-and-comer, the man who we've seen in the past, and we know that he can do the damage. That was always the question about whether or not he'd be brought in, because like, do you want to say to someone like Fallen, okay, you're going to have to take the back seat? But I suppose it's more him saying it to himself, considering he's the one that leads the team.
Yeah, I feel like at some point, you know, you can pass the torch off and realize your efforts, the energy and time you can spend somewhere else in the team, like leading them along. Slower style of round here for gamerzone. MIBR, obviously, with not much utility to use, haven't challenged out towards Banana and gonna be giving up a lot of real estate. They're still playing passive.
Smoke. This is worrying. Like, they still have utility to slow this push down even further, and like 25 seconds left on the clock, and gamerzone have very little control. They managed to get round to the arch side, but there's 2 players for MIBR just sitting in the site, just waiting for them. Now the rotation comes back in, but it may be a little bit too late. KNG's got to try and hold this down. This is a difficult position to survive in, and eventually the pistol will be there to close him out. With a few seconds left, the bomb's going to be going down, and well, it's a shame there wasn't anybody closer to try and stop that.
Yeah, and I love how you point out the utility, by the way, because MIBR weren't really forced to use so, and have shown, you know, really good composure here, though you kind of have to question gamerzone maybe need to invest more of their own utility to bait it out of MIBR in these rounds. Looks like Fallen and Fur will be saving these. Not able to rescue the op that KNG did have in the A site. But a strong start. gamerzone should be tying things up. And what about the pool? I mean, we heard the Death's thoughts on it. Train to come up second, Mirage to come up third and final.
It's kind of difficult at this stage. Like, you've got a brand new couple of players within MIBR who haven't been able to, like, we can look at what their map pool was before, but they were previously playing with a coach. So it's not really going to give you too much idea of the map pool. And then gamerzone, they've never played anybody of this caliber. So
yeah.
it's like you could look at their map stats and go, oh, okay, they've beaten this team, this team, and this team. And it tells you absolutely nothing about how they're going to play versus MIBR. So
well, at least on paper, though, MIBR, I mean, having potentially the double op setup with KNG and Fallen, which we've seen on Train numerous of times, I feel like that's going to be a very difficult task for gamerzone to deal with unless they're able to really, you know, get Torsi going, get him confident on his own op to be able to battle out against this.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think it's very difficult to predict matches like this because you're always going to favor MIBR massively. Like, you've got to, because they are the proven team, whereas the Hungarian side are unknown. Even within their own scene, they weren't expected to get this far.
Right.
So to expect them to beat a team that has previous major winners on it is insane. Like, you'd have to be mental, but at the same time, it's a newish team or a newish couple of players, and there's definitely going to be errors and room for mistakes. So there's potential for gamerzone. I still don't think they're going to be able to overwhelm MIBR, and the fact is, for a lot of their players, Inferno in the past has been a pretty good match. I always used to like watching Lucas on the A side of this map. I think he plays it very, very well. And speak of the devil, there we go. He's got himself a couple of kills. I feel like that's happened a few times today. Well, KNG is there to support him, looking to try and steal a round away, but they do manage to transition back into a 2 versus 2. Still a possibility. Taco may have just missed the bow. It's going to be the P250 to close things, and, well, fallen very far away.
Yeah, but they had a big stack towards the east side. Did you notice, by the way, that gamerzone went for a triple stack in towards window in that round and try to actually, you know, take someone that was going to be, I think it was Taco in that direction. So they definitely are prepared. The thing is, gamerzone have the advantage in preparation against MIBR in terms of, like, they can see, like, the strategy they've been using. Yeah, I understand they've been playing with the coach. They get to see, you know, the Moscow tournament that they just played and kind of look at how they generally play things. That is totally family friendly, even though I don't speak Hungarian. I can guarantee there is nothing, you know, PG-13 about that. But that's got to feel good, and that's what you need to see, right? That's exactly what we talked about. Confidence, getting it within the team, whether it's one player standing out or the team is just playing well in general.
They've just written in the chat that they've got sound problems, and I wonder if that is just the amount of damage he's just done by screaming down the microphone.
Is the sound problems you're hearing now after that?
Is it you? Are you the sound problem?
But that's a lot of confidence for them. I mean, taking a lead against MIBR, the fact that it's hard for MIBR to prep against specifically gamerzone because you're not going to have a lot of tape against them.
They wouldn't have done.
Exactly. So they would focus on playing their own style, their own game, and I think that's kind of what's always going to happen in these David versus Goliath games, where the David's going to have to play to the style of the Goliath. They're going to have to change up their own strategies to play against the team they know they're up against that's going to be better on paper. And I think that's a good sign. If teams can put up some good numbers, like if gamerzone put up some decent numbers against MIBR here, I think that's a good sign in general that the preparation is on point. It's just about maybe fixing a couple of issues. But obviously, I'm way ahead of myself because we're only 5 rounds in.
Yeah, very early days. Yet to see too many proper investments from MIBR, at least with a lot of utility behind them. And the fact is, Inferno is one of those maps where I feel like you're going to get a lot of closer games. Like, stomps on Inferno aren't necessarily that common. Like, if you go into a more puggy style map, like, I definitely could see something like Train being more of a dominant performance from MIBR, especially when they get into that CT side of it, just because breaking into that sort of defense is always very difficult. Now, they might have more opportunities just because, like, KNG may not be properly into this roster just yet. Like, but once he is, I think their Train will be absolutely filthy. But, yeah.
I think in general, they'll be absolutely filthy once they...
It's hard to tell. It really is, because there's a lot of players that have sort of joined and left this roster that you sort of expected to do better. Like, each time Phelps joined, I was thinking, okay, well, now they're going to utilize him more properly. And each time it just seemed like he was a bit of an outcast to the team. I don't think that's going to be the same case with KNG, because I don't know how you would outcast KNG. Like, he's got a big personality. That's the way I'm going to put it. That I think even for just hyping up the team, he's going to be invaluable. Like, we've seen it even when he was playing in Ints. Like, you could see the whole team rally around him. So it's going to be an interesting project, that's for sure. And I think that I'm happy to see moves being made. But yeah, this is the sort of match that you want to see MIBR using as more of a warm-up. And I expect maybe we'll see like a 16-10, 16-11 in favor of them on this map, because I do think that gamerzone have a good chance to get some rounds. But it's more like I think that's always going to be the case. Like, the whole thing of, like, innocent until proven guilty. Like, you need gamerzone to, like, prove that they are something different to the teams we've always seen come in and try and face off against the big dogs. And until that point, we're always just going to assume that they're not going to be able to do it.
And as some background information, I'm not sure if it was mentioned necessarily on the desk, but they've only been playing together about a month and a half, at least this core of 5. There is a core of 4 with Corey, who's sort of towards being crazier. They've been playing together for about, a year, if I'm not mistaken? Yeah, almost a year. So they've definitely put in a ton of time. I know they said when we talked to them before the event that they've been watching a ton of demos, preparing as much as they possibly can. I think they realize. I think they're one of those teams that's sitting this, look at the opportunity that's been given to them, that the opportunity that they qualified for. That if we can make a name for themselves here, then we can really start to raise our scene up. Not only are you playing for yourselves, but you're playing for your scene. You're playing for the Hungarian region to put them on the map.
This round at least should be a little bit of a no-go for the Brazilian side. Like, just a few pistols. Nice shot from Taco. Can at least look to make things costly, and there is a full rotation coming in from the remaining players, so maybe they can have a bit of a crossfire. Taco actually getting another one is a little bit worrying, and Fallen might be able to get some sort of timing here. I don't think they'll expect him to be this close. He doesn't actually get the bomb planter just yet, and somehow Torzi's got away with that. It's left on Tafari. He's found an SG alongside his Kevlar through the smoke, though. It's not going to be enough, and a nice shot from Torzi. That is way too close for comfort, but even still, based off what was invested alone, that's a pretty damn good round from MIBR.
Torzi, please don't break the sound again. Please don't. We just fixed the issue. We don't need it again.
For anybody who doesn't know this, like, they are literally sat next to each other.
Yeah.
Like, there is a wall between the two teams, and they are sat next to each other. So 100% everything he is shouting, the guys at MIBR can hear.
I mean, they're not going to understand it.
Oh, no.
But they can hear it.
Like, he's not giving them tips and tricks.
Look at this, though. Every round they win, you can see what it means to them. You can see the desire to prove themselves, and seeing this desire in a team is so refreshing. The desire to win, the desire to push themselves. I guess you're looking at maybe like the baby made in Brazil back in the day when they were trying to prove the Brazil region on the map. You're seeing the passion in their eyes, and if they can continue winning rounds like this, I think we're off to a good match, off to a good start.
Yeah, and it's a little bit different, of course, for like European teams, in the sense that you don't have to move across the world
that is
to
true.
actually get yourselves into a position where you can compete. Fallen already a fantastic start, and he's going to get himself a second pick already. You spoke about that double orb setup, and they have brought it in very early into this game. Clearly going to be a part, and Fallen is just maneuvering around that smoke. Magic with the AWP. And KNG hasn't had to use his yet. It is the Mac Daddy of the AWP doing all of the work, and it's left on to Corey. 1 versus 4. This would be definitely something to scream about. I can't see it happening.
Yeah, now you hit the shots there, unfortunately, and that'll be MIBR taking their 3rd round. I wonder if there's some like little fun game that Matt Fallen and KNG play when they run the double up setup, so you get the most kills. See if they can fight for the right to be the main opera. Obviously, it's going to be KNG.
Winning.
It's called yeah.
It must be one of those things that, like, when you join a team and then, like, your job is to AWP better than Fallen, like that's like the job that nobody wants. And we need you to be better than a guy who has previously been one of the best players in the world and probably the best AWPer in the world. It's like, oh, okay, that's a reasonable request.
Easy.
Easy.
Well, we talked about gamerzone, how they get pumped up. We obviously seen Torzi be very excitable when they win rounds. We didn't talk about the opposite of that, though. Once they start getting quiet, when his teammates expect him to be riling them up, and maybe Torzi starts to have a bad game and he gets a little bit tilted, well, they then start to go down on themselves. Obviously, it's a lot you have to take into account when playing, and a lot of young teams have to go through these growing pains as a team and as a player in general. Because you have to realize every one of your actions does have a reaction for your team. But 4-3.
We have 4
getting some
AWPs.
utilities there. Yeah, this is an opera strike.
Yeah, like 1 AWP on the T side is like optional. 2 AWPs is a surprise. Like, that's not something you really see. Maybe just trying to counter the pick play, and well, not going too well so far. But this is the thing, though. Like, we sort of spoke, like, almost jokingly earlier about avoiding players. Like, literally in the last game, it seemed like they were avoiding ROPs. If you're trying to avoid the AWP, like, which one?
Yeah.
Like, which AWP do you choose not to go near? Because it doesn't seem like there's a good option.
Option. Gotcha. Nice little boost over the smoke. Trying to check in towards pit. Fortunately, Fallen's going to be there. We know both ops are here. Now you're like, all right, well, let's go B, boys.
I think that is actually the call, but they've run out of time.
Yeah.
It's just going to be the save call. one of the orbs will be brought into the next round. But yeah, it is just tough, like breaking down either of these players. And that is one of the scariest prospects with MIBR at the moment. If both of them are hitting their stride at the same time, I don't see any team really being able to stop that. Like that would be one of the toughest double orb setups to break down. And in this round, it literally took 2 picks for gamerzone to be out of it. Now, it's understandable they want to keep their weaponry into the next round, although it leaves them with quite a dicey buy. Like, you're going to have a Mac 10 dropped over to Corey, maybe a pistol onto Hussar. Like, it's not a pretty buy. They're going to have to really rely on Torzi. But to be fair, he is top of the board at the moment, 9-3, matching Fallen on the other side. We're starting to see a little bit of aggression starting to come out from MIBR. Again, the peek in from Taco into second mid. Gains a little bit of information, spots out a couple of players. And we're having a bit of a battle on Banana, although not a whole lot of utility expended out just yet. Normally you expect... See ya.
The thing is, when you're against double ops, you have like 2 options. Well, technically 3. Either you out-op them, or you just pick up the pace and you go fast and use your utility. That's a third option. That's why I said there was 3. I corrected myself. But there's obviously a couple of different options, but it's not necessarily easy to do. And if they're not used to playing against oppers of this caliber and double ops of this caliber, it's going to be a tough mountain for gamerzone to climb, to be honest.
I'd like to see some sort of apartments play, because that's always like one of the ways that you can sort of, like, especially if you have the pit smokes, you can throw them down, gain control of the pit, and then look to try and fight out from there. Instead, they're going to make their way on towards short. 45 seconds left on the clock. Smoke goes down, which will leave a little bit of a gap, but then this leaves this man on the site already. Fallen picks off 1. It is going to be the trade back onto Lucas, but Fallen is still here. 30 seconds on the clock as he's being wrapped from behind. I don't know if he's going to be able to do anything about this, but he hits the shot anyway. Knows that there's a man on the site, jumps up above, but doesn't actually connect the shot. And while Fur eventually makes his way around from behind, Fallen kicking things off and just surviving all the way through. And I think that is something that Fallen does better than anyone else in the world, is just being able to stay alive in positions where you feel like he should go down.
Oh, that shot.
I thought that he clipped the actual bit where you were like under the wall under the tunnel.
Yeah.
I didn't think he clipped the wall on the side as well. Like that's grotesque.
One thing we should mention, by the way, Torzi did get 3 kills with the op in that round.
Yep.
Very close to getting 4 on the fall, and if he was able to hit that shot jumping on top of the box. So there's definitely some life within the team, and another little timeout coming in for gamerzone as they obviously going to make sure these issues are fixed so they can continue to play out without any more breaks. But now, unfortunately, gamerzone, there's not really any money to spend here. They invested almost everything into that last round. But this technically could almost work in their favor. Maybe being forced to play quicker pace with the pistols can catch off the double op setup if you can somehow get in the site and get that bomb down. Maybe pick a couple of gums for your trouble. But I feel like it's like... I love seeing events that have qualifiers, of being able to get teams who normally don't play against teams of this caliber. It gives them so much experience and so much to learn from, and obviously a massive chance to make themselves known and to kind of make a name for themselves. And the moment Torzi's at 12 kills, we talk about Connor. Like, can you name a single standout Irish player except him after seeing today?
Obviously Neil M.
Okay, I don't know who Neil M is.
Really?
No.
Okay, you're missing out.
Am I?
You're missing out. It's one of the
way you said it kind of makes
the greatest Twitters in esports. we need another statement. That's what we need. Honestly, go check out his Twitter after this game. It is fantastic.
Aww.
But yeah, he was Neil M was the coach of Imperial and Greyhound.
Oh yeah, okay. You were talking about him earlier, if I remember correctly.
They were talking about him on the desk.
Yeah. Look at Fallen, sharing his water with everyone. What a good guy.
This is
He's really giving it to everyone. Make sure you stay hydrated.
Yeah. Sharing is caring.
And Zeus is like, I want some water.
Yeah. Zeus just left in the background.
Oh, so I fill in when you need me, but when I'm thirsty, you're not going to give me any water.
No, definitely. I like these sort of tournaments in a sense of like most of the time you get to see these new teams maybe at like a DreamHack sort of tours event where you get like somebody through one of the qualifiers. But even then, like the way that those qualifiers work a lot of the time is you get like top European teams actually qualifying through. So like maybe you would get a team like Tricked, for example, like we did at DreamHack Summer, who get given the opportunity. But most of the time, it's not teams like this that would be able to get through that sort of qualifier. So having these more like local qualifiers available is quite cool. A bit like that keyboard is ridiculous.
Cameramen hate him. The lighting off of that.
Of course it was KNG's. Like I can't say I'm surprised at all.
Oh, unfortunate part for gamerzone, they can't use this time to talk either. That's weird. It's a technical pause. I would hope they're actually going to use quite a few pauses over the course of this match just to discuss things and really try to learn from the situation of what they can, change.
Yeah, I think the other thing, like going back to the sort of talk of opportunities, I'm interested to see what will happen in Rotterdam with Besiktas, the female team, being given the opportunity through winning the female event in Valencia. I almost put the words together. I think stuff like that is definitely good for the scene, to see these different teams given an opportunity. Also, like you have to bear in mind that the teams here already have managed to at least take home a portion of the prize pool just by getting themselves this far. So that maybe, like, it genuinely is like this much of a case that for some of these players, this might be the difference between them continuing to like play for a little bit longer and give it a go, or like maybe give them a bit more time to practice based off like not having to do like a full-time job, because that is the thing. Obviously you do have like teams like MIBR who are obviously this is their full-time job, like this is what they do, like, but for some of the smaller teams within this event, this is something that this is an opportunity that they may not get ever again, so they've got to try and grasp it with both hands.
I mean, wasn't Sponge like a plumber and doing CS at the same time?
Well, I think a lot of people.
Or no, he's a carpenter or plumber? I think it was a plumber. I think Top Gun was a carpenter.
I don't remember.
But yeah, no, you're right. Like we were even talking about this yesterday, where we were back in Amsterdam for another match. That like this isn't a full-time job for everyone you see playing, and you have to imagine you're doing your 9 to 5 at your job, and you have to come home and do your 9 to 5 basically within CS with your team, and it's passion what drives you. And obviously gamerzone have a ton of it. I think Torzy's carrying about 75% of it for his team after what we've seen so far.
But he's also very, very young as well, like 17 years old. The thing about the VAC ban definitely seems interesting. Like I can't say I know too much about the story behind it, but if he is just tearing things up, that's definitely going to be a mark on his career. It's sort of like within Brazil, even like you talk about VSM, like he's definitely someone tainted to be an up-and-comer, but if you're a team like MIBR, you're never going to take a punt on someone like him because you can't play in the major with him. So what's the point? Even if he was the best player in the whole of Brazil, like it would be that sort of case where you're like, well, we want to play in the majors, we want to play in the most prestigious tournaments, and if you're banned, what's the point? So obviously for his sake, you kind of hope that it's not something long-standing and that it does disappear at a point, but if not, then that is going to be troublesome.
Don't worry, it looks like this counter talk has finally ended. Looks like the pause has been undone. We're going to get back into Inferno between MIBR and gamerzone. Currently, MIBR up 5-4. gamerzone on the T side. They will have just a couple of pistols and a little bit of utility to use, but more importantly, they have to figure out some sort of way to dislodge and dismantle this double op setup that MIBR have, especially if the economy keeps growing for them. They don't have to only do it once, but they might have to do it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I think this is where you just need to pick up the pace. Like that is the real deterrent for these double orbs, is just get up in their faces, try and utilize your close range pistols. Looking like we might see some aggression over towards Banana. They've left Lucas here alone. He's just going to be spotting. He does have a singular smoke ready to try and deny them any sort of push, and there's already going to be a couple of rotations coming back, so he's going to try and deny the initial push and will get the spray down at least onto one, doing some nice damage, and the rotation is going to be coming in from his teammates. the hope for them is to deny the bomb plant, but I think the T's will at least get that down.
Smart play by Crazy Deer to pick up that gun. Spots out a player and immediately gets back, realizing they need this weapon. Unfortunately, Fallen's going to find his head and a second onto Arby. Misar's last alive, and, well, they at least got the bomb down. They got a kill. So a lot of money on their side. Obviously not the end result that they did want, but they should be happy with that. Yeah, even Crazy Deer telling Fawn, nice shot. I think there was smoke from CT spawn. But Fallen doesn't seem to care about smokes. That's not the first kill we've seen through. I think that's number 3 so far.
You almost wonder if this is like a point to prove for him now, or it's like, okay, I'm not primary AWP anymore. I'll just start AWPing better than you've seen. Like,
there's no pressure on him now.
He's just absolutely destroying everyone. And then I felt like the majority of his kills have also been like, so bear in mind he's been using the AWP. He has a 61% headshot. Like, that's ridiculous. He's barely used a rifle or anything else, and it's not like he's only got like a couple. He's got 13 kills. Like, that's madness. Someone should tell him that he can hit them in the body and they'll still die.
Shh. Okay, ENG's gonna have some company, it seems. You see Torsi back on the up. Lucas gets caught out. It's a nice little kill by Arby, and KNG might get overrun here. He gets the shot onto Arby, though, as he tries to come around the corner and punish him for the reload, and Torsi's not able to capitalize off of the retreat either. KNG will be there. Musar taking him and Taco out. Well done. I mean, there wasn't anything like spicy done out of gamerzone. It was just like they got a nice little pick off to Lucas in the beginning, then they caught out KNG eventually. Musar getting a double in apartments definitely helped out.
Yeah, the other thing as well is Taco in that round, 2 dinks. You have to feel a little bit sorry for him. Like, that could have completely turned the round on its head.
Yeah.
Instead, T-side have managed to get themselves another round on the board. It is just going to be Fur and Fallen waiting to see if anybody is going to exit out of this site. Of course, 2 of the players do have to leave, but they've made the smart decision and gone through middle. And so that is going to be another round on the board for gamerzone. So at least still keeping things close. Financially, this is not going to be a problem, though, for the Brazilians. Like, they have got plenty of money back.
Yeah, there we see the double up come back in. KNG picking up his own utilities there as well. So that's the problem for gamerzones, because they've kind of lost 4 rounds in a row without doing too much damage. And now it means they have to win back-to-back-to-back rounds to really punish. Look at that shot. Well done. Of course, they start catching out Taco there at the end as well. So let's see, can they continue this pace? 3 players over towards the B site. Maybe looking for an early challenge in this direction, which they've been able to win out for the most part. You can see gamerzone being held back. And a lot of damage being done. Look at the grenades. Corey down low on HP. Sorry, Arby down low on HP. Misar as well. Some good utility damage done for the side of MIBR. I think over half the utility used out of gamerzone was just to get this control towards Banana that they finally have.
Yeah, they've managed a little bit, but it's whether or not they can actually utilize it, because just look at the CT setup. 3 players ready and waiting on the B site. It's going to make things very difficult. Fallen already here, Fur alongside him, and then Lucas is sort of that last player, and they're even going to throw down a smoke, and as they look to go anywhere near it, Lucas is going to find one through. They're still continuing this push. I was about to say, this seems like they need to be falling back, but it may be too little too late. 1 HP, 11 HP, and while both those players fall, and Torsi now left as a bit of a bait as he's just sat back. Hasn't been able to do anything in this round, and with 30 seconds left, he's just going to make the decision to try and hold on to that AWP.
Should be able to get away with this one as well. Unfortunate, they invested that much utility and that much time to take the B site, and then they got shut down without even seeing a single player because of the smokes being used by MIBR. Actually, is there a chance they're going to catch him? Oh, it looks like he's just going to sit in kitchen.
Yeah, it doesn't really need to push any further than this, and dying after the time would be pretty much as bad as it gets. Now, he can actually drop a gun if he really wanted to, like drop a AK over to one of his teammates, and 3 of the remaining can actually buy. So it's not too much of a problem for gamerzone, although he's opted for utility, and Corey will take the hit instead. On the other side of things, it's only going to be getting worse, as MIBR now have the double AWPs, 2 AKs, and an SG. So pretty much as good as a buy can get.
I like how the highlight of that round was just spraying through a smoke the entire time with every bullet possible. Hey, it worked out, so I'm not going to knock it too hard. Pace looking to be picked up, I guess. Crazy, you're able to get straight through. Lands direct on a nade and a Molotov. It seems like every time gamerzone try to make aggression somewhere, there's always some utility out of MIBR to just stop them or to delay them.
Oh, KNG just cleaning things up at the moment. Already 2 kills to his name. Trades are going to come back, though. Stuck into a 3 versus 2, and Taco already low on health. Can't really look to face into this, so instead it will be Fur actually going to lose that battle. It looked like a surefire win. Fallen will be sat ready and waiting, and in the meantime, Taco continues his push back around. I don't think they saw him when Fur went down. He's going to be a lot closer than maybe expected. Through the smoke goes Hussar, though. Now it is left all onto Taco. Needs to clear this close range angle. Gets the first, but can't quite close things out. It will be Arby to win them the round. A 6th on the board for gamerzone. Now we look towards the finances of MIBR once again, but I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about before. Because of MIBR winning those 4 rounds, without losing too many players, their economy was fine. It was perfectly fine. And able to lose a couple of rounds and still be able to buy up yet again. Hussar again, he's been able to pull off a couple of really important kills. We've seen the last 2 rounds I'm able to win. He's been able to, he took down Taco and KNG, a couple rounds prior. This time he gets a triple kill. Silently, he's been picking up quite a few kills that have been able to help net gamerzone's 6 rounds here on the T side. Torzy, unfortunately, not able to... They weren't able to recover the AWP from the last round. So now he's just on the SG. Did he hit himself with the flashbang or hit a teammate with that flash? I heard it hit someone.
It did hit someone, so MIBR definitely going to know there's someone around that angle. That probably would have been heard by Taco. Even with all the money that they have, still there's a piece or 2 missing. It's only really been the aggressive A takes that have been successful from gamerzone. The B site has been on lock, and any sort of slow round just seems to favor MIBR, mainly because they're playing a double AWP setup. So it's kind of understandable that they're able to win a lot of these pick play rounds. And, well, on the B site, they've just been pushing into Fallen. I think he's only died on the retake.
Looks like it'll continue to go towards A direction. There's going to be 3 players waiting. Taco, you can see on top of balcony. Player in sight. Another player right next to it. Taco trying to play anti-flash here as Hanji's going to come around the corner. Takes the first, but Arby quickly able to respawn. Taco, unfortunately, not able to respawn himself. But Lucas, will they expect him to be here? Yes, the flashbang comes through. And they're able to dislodge him and take this site. And now the economy out of MIBR is in shambles. Try to save the M4 and the AWP into the next round, and gamerzone are going to tie things up at 7 apiece.
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing they can do in this sort of scenario. And again, you sort of look at this from MIBR's point of view, and you got to think this round again was very close. Like, there's a couple of kills that go back the other way, and who knows what happens. Like, Arby right down low on HP, 1 to his name, and even Crazy Deer, which still like one of the weirdest names I think I've ever heard in Counter-Strike. But hey, Arby's going to go down for at least making things a little bit more costly. And considering their financial situation, it may mean that there's a grenade or 2 missing, because it would be much worse if Fur was to go down, but he is going to survive.
I think you can see the adrenaline pumping on the side of gamerzone. Able to take this many rounds, gets MIBR on T5 Inferno. I feel like they're going to start to show up here, and I'm curious to see how the rest of the series can go if they're able to take this map somehow against MIBR. I think I want to say if they can take the first map, that they can take the series. Actually, I don't know. I want to say, I know you're looking at me weird, but I have faith in these guys. I don't know. I like the energy that's coming out of them. I like they've been able to adapt their style a little bit, like getting a lot quicker. But at the same time, I do understand, Tom, that there have been a couple of moments where if like a bullet went a different direction or they were able to get a kill for MIBR I'm talking about, then it would have been a completely different story for the round.
Well, already Lucas going to be able to pick one off. Fallen only left with the Deagle. He's the solo defender of this B site as they finally look to pick up the pace in his direction, and there's no AWP here from him this time. The flashbang's good, but maybe a little bit too early, as now they're going to look to push over the top of him. And how does Fallen get away with even a kill? Fur also spraying one and a second down as well, and leaves it all onto Torsi, but he is the man you'd want in this sort of scenario. The 1 versus 3, top fragger for his side at the moment. His AWP in hand and still some time to play with. Now, he spotted one man cross. KNG's going to walk by. He's not going to expect anybody to be there, but he doesn't know the third's coming around. Bad timing. Could have had both kills, but instead, it will be closed out by MIBR. An 8-7 half, but still pretty damn close in the end.
Yeah, damn close indeed, and I think they should be pretty happy with that result so far. Torsi, again, 12 kills, leading his team. Hosar's at 8. He's had a lot of crucial kills, a lot of crucial double kills, or even more than that coming through. Now we're going to be swapping sides here momentarily, and well, now we get to see what MIBR do on the T side and how well gamerzone can communicate between each other when it comes down to reading into the rotations. We obviously saw how Fallen locked down that B site almost single-handedly with AWP. He got more kills to the smoke than I think some players have on gamerzone, to be honest.
It seems like it is actually a mic issue, which I do find quite funny. Can you break a mic by screaming too loud?
Yes. I want to say yes.
You want to say yes? Okay. Based off no statistical data whatsoever, just you've got the Jason Kaplan guarantee.
I didn't guarantee it. I just okay. My gut feeling is yes, you can.
Oh, that's not really worth very much to me, I'll be honest. I don't know, though. I think this is where things get a little bit interesting for me, because we saw in the previous map, like the CT side was where sort of the underdog team did reasonably well, but that was solely off the back of one player.
Yes.
Now, we do have Torsi playing reasonably well, but there's a lot of quieter players, like Crazy sort of started things off reasonably well, but definitely slowed down. You have Corey as well, only with 3 kills to his name total. So if MIBR even get a sort of sniff of weakness, I feel like they're just going to start exploiting some of these positions. And
it's the opposite of Rops, what happened last game. Instead of avoiding him, you just go to that player every time.
Yeah, exactly. And I think as well, like, again, I'm going to highlight Fur. I think that he is the sort, like, although like you see players like Fallen like lighting up the server, Fur is the one to exploit weakness. Like he is going to be the one that if you give him even a slight chance to do something, he's going to pin you for it. And I just feel like that's something that's so difficult to play against. He's also having a pretty damn good game, 11-4 at the moment. So you do have to worry a little bit for gamerzone. At the same time, this is a different scenario to the previous match. This is not a mixed team that's just come together and just sort of like giving this a go. This is a team that has been practicing, and thus you'd have to expect that the CT side for them should be better. They should have the rotations down, and it's just whether or not that actually works in practice, because you can definitely see with sort of like lower tier teams that, okay, sure, maybe you can get a few rounds on that T side just by like having good synergy, but once it comes down to like rotations, utility usage, and things that like maybe a team that's been together longer or has a deeper strategy book, or even just having those talented players to get you those opening picks.
I'm just curious as well if they're used to maybe the style that MIBR is gonna bring, because obviously, as we talked about, like smaller regions have a tougher time of really making a name for themselves, but also the teams that they play against. You know, you have to imagine what's the competition that gamerzone has been practicing against. I'm sure it's nothing like the meta in NA. I'm sure it's nothing against like what NA teams will throw at you. So it's just something they have to adapt to on the fly, and that's something that I don't think really get experience from doing any scrims in your region. That's something you have to play like international lands for. You have to get the experience of having to change your style like mid-game depending on how they're playing. And I feel like this is, again, a great learning experience for gamerzone, a great growing experience. But we'll see, obviously, as the rest of this map does go. We still obviously have one more match to come up today. That should be between Mouse Sports and Tricked. Do another best of 3. Winner of that goes straight through to the semifinals. And of course, tomorrow we still have a plethora of games, another 4 best of 3s to come up. We'll get to see the debut from NIP here in the tournament. Got to see them play in Moscow not too long ago. Had a hell of a lot of draws.
Yeah.
Was it like 2 or 3 draws? 2 or 3 15-15s?
I don't know. I'm always like, it's always great when it's like Forest and Get Right anywhere. But
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that we get to see a little bit more. I think that like the young guns of Rez and Plobsky are going to be the ones that you kind of want to look towards within that team. And yeah, I hope they get off to a good start because we could have some pretty interesting matches. That's the thing. Within this tournament at the moment, you've definitely not got any teams that are like within the top 5 in the world at the moment, but there's potential there. Like you expect that Mouse Sports with the current team that they have could easily sort of rise up the rankings. You know that MIBR with this new team, like who knows the limits of where they can go. At the same time, they're in their infancy stages, so maybe there's a chance for one of these other teams that we've not even heard of before this event to actually do something surprising, or a team like Trick to have been on the rise to maybe upset a team or two.
Oh, Corey. Getting tagged up a little bit through there. I like that idea, yeah. Like, obviously, Counter-Strike isn't a game of just put the 5 best players in the world together and expect them to do well. We've already seen in the past that just doesn't work necessarily. And obviously, teams need time to go through those growing pains to come together as 5. And here we go. Looks like it's going to be a slight little push towards B. MIBR. I'm able to flash their way through towards E, trying to play a little bit of a bait here for Crazy Deer. He's going to come around the corner. He needs to hit these shots. They will be able to get 2 quick kills coming through. Crazy Deer. He'll take the head right off of Taco. And look at this, another one. Can he pull off the potentially final kill? No, it's going to be RB to close this out. And there we go. Gamerzone take the pistol round.
Yeah, strong start to their CT side, and I'm wondering if we'll see any level of investment coming out from MIBR. We don't really expect it. They'll be able to get AKs into the next round based off the 2,400 loss bonus, and actually they are going to go for it. I'm surprised. Some pistols purchased. They're going to be up against heavy utility with a couple of rifles to back it up. Maybe still feeling confident that they can win this off the back of just their pure individual skill. We have seen a couple of impressive deke shots out from Lucas early on, and also Fallen managing to hit the player above him like a couple of rounds ago, but this could be the moment where gamerzone once again take the lead.
Spoke about the Deagles before. Let's see Fer take the head off RB. And Crazier's overplaying towards B just in the round prior. Is actually rotated back towards A, so maybe playing a little bit of a floater role for the team. It's looking for that second shot, that second kill.
You do see a lot of teams as well, like stack B site on the pistol, just because it's very easy to get overwhelmed by the Glocks, but we'll see if he does play more of the rotational role. I like how they've stacked 3 players into the middle of this A site. The only problem is the wraparound. Nice shot already to take down Fallen. He is the only defender, so a lot being asked of this man. And of course, he has to be careful. He is actually going to spot them out and maybe able to just clear out these rotational players. He does, and that leaves Lucas all alone. The chance for him to get this bomb down is pretty much gone, as Hassar's not going to take any risks here. Like, he doesn't want to allow MIBR to get that extra cash off the back of these pistols, and they're going to clean things up nicely.
I feel like I'm gonna know so much Hungarian before we leave.
We can ask Drawlin on the desk to translate everything they just said and see if he has his job by the end of it.
I think we both know the answer to that one. Nice little shot from further. That was a shot and a half coming through. The gamerzone taking the lead 9-8. Well done by them so far. They're up against the pistols yet again here out of MIBR. And again, momentum is starting to shift towards their way. The nades being thrown in, doing a little bit of damage here or there. Fallen. Again, you talked about the Deagles. They've been able to do some work, just unfortunately not enough work.
Yeah, again, this is all about damage for MIBR. Hoping to try and reduce the amount of economy gamerzone are going to get. And they've still got a couple of SMGs in play to try and make that extra cash. Be interested to see if they'll pull out the AWP into the next round, as they will have the finances to do it, and Torzi has gone down. And the rest of the team are just going to be cleaning things up. Now, KNG already has enough money that he can get an AWP with Kevlar, but can he do anything more? He's got an MP9 as well. Again, spoke about cost at the beginning of the round, so anything he can do here would be valuable, but it isn't going to be the case. Nice clean round coming up for gamerzone, an important one at that. Now we get into the buys. This is where things get a little bit more interesting.
So we get to the meat of the match, the buy-up for MIBR. The op, like I said, going to be coming in for KNG most likely. There we go. Double up setup, though, for gamerzone. We have Corey and Torzi going to be sitting on top of these. They still have the ump picked up for RB at the moment.
Yeah, Corey yet to have any impact, really, in this game. 3 kills to his name, so maybe the AWP is just to try and give him a chance to do something, and he does catch one out. Now, Crazy has got so far down.
It's lived up to his name.
Into middle, as if Fallen expects that. The amount of IQ this man must have is off the charts. Now, T side slowly building into what looks like a play towards the A side, but the CT side have read this very well. 3 players here. They've left the one defender of Torzi, which, again, perfectly okay with. He is playing it very passively, so there's a chance that if they did go in that direction, they could just smoke him out. Instead, the T's looking like they are going to make their way in towards the stack.
Wonder how the ump's going to fare, though, out of RB. With 50 seconds left, there's still a very realistic possibility they could rotate back towards this B site. KNG still looking for an avenue of attack. Torzi's only going to have the incendiary grenade if they do decide to turn tail and run back towards that site. But the rotations, look at this. They might have read into it before, but unfortunately gamerzone have over-read into this and have rotated players back towards the B site, leaving Hussar all by himself. And that's going to be the first coming through. Obviously, the spray down coming in. He gets a second. Can he get a third as well? The last bullet comes through, and the Deagle comes out. Fallen gets the kill, stops the plant. The nade going to come in, and hello, RB. 11-8 here for gamerzone. To read into the push in towards A, and then to overread into it to rotate players back towards B and leave him all by himself to take 3 kills. What more could you ask for? Obviously 4, but they got it in the end anyways, right?
Yeah, no, great. That's the second time where they've just left Hussar as like a anchor on the site to do absolutely everything, and well, he does it perfectly. 11-8. Very aggressive Molotovs to try and stop any sort of push. See you later, Taco. He's just been burned into oblivion, and the rest of the team looking like they may go for a quick apartments play. RB already waiting for this push to come in. However, they can catch off Torzi. They have a chance. The remaining players are on the other side of the map. It is going to be the push out. Nice shots for both KNG and Lucas, which gives over an AWP and gives the opportunity for a bomb plant. Now this round just got interesting.
We saw on 13 kills, a big playmaker in the last round. Crazy here at 13 as well. Looking to push back in. 25 seconds left to go on the clock. KNG's already able to take down Corey, but Crazy is able to return. So now down to a 2-on-2. Time is taken away. The nades landing directly in the face of KNG, and he immediately turns around, takes on Hussar. And now Crazy here by himself won't be able to do much. And MIBR are going to win a round they definitely should not have been able to.
Yeah, that nade was so close to winning them the round because KNG was on 2 HP and then he gets a kill while on 2 HP. So way too close for comfort.
I wonder if gamerzone had the read into the save out of MIBR there, because I would imagine Torzi wouldn't take such a close angle against pistols. He would have sat back to watch apartments, and then he would have had the pit player watch towards short to provide like a little bit of a crossfire there. Instead, he played really close that if the pit player doesn't get quick kills in quick succession, then he's going to die anyways.
A big pistol play coming out from MIBR. maybe finding that weakness. It was something I said that I'm interested to see if they exploit. By the looks of it, they're going right back towards banana control. I suppose you can't really just give up this portion of the map. On the other side of things, there are some limitations. Utility dwindling, and, well, one of the people who doesn't have a gun. And out of all the people, it's the man who's been doing a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to the CT side. Torzy, however, will have his AWP, but this is looking like a full setup. And I think after the previous A play, the CT side have tried to adapt to stack up this short side, even pushing towards the apartments. And now they're going to start their rotation back towards this B side. The question is, will the play come in before the rotation can actually be made? It will be, and the shot's been missed, but Crazed Deer will still be able to find Lucas. Waits around the corner, but first very quick to trade. Torzy at least able to find one, but the cavalry has arrived and the bomb's been dropped. Taco at least is able to retrieve it, but they may just need to try and get this bomb down for extra finances for the next round.
Oh, Taco not having a chance. 2 players in CT spawn watching. Now for all alone against 4. Gets flashed up and then shotgun off by Torzy. I feel like there was like a split second he looked at that as like, should I knife him?
I know, I think he just wanted to make perfectly sure that there was no way he missed that no-scope. So just let the AWP completely reset from the movement and then just like... But yeah, couldn't have been more blind in that scenario, so probably doesn't know how ridiculous that looked. But 12-9. Just 4 rounds away. That was a great shot. I questioned why he was the man with the deagle.
Also a great repeat by Torzy before, because he was on top of the wheelbarrow, the Crips. And then he falls back, and he actually jumps back on top of it a little bit later on once Crazy Deer starts to get some pressure on him.
Oh, okay. Very aggressive, okay. And they've just pushed into the hands of KNG. Not something you ever want to do. And even Torzy just holding a lot of time around the edge of that Molotov. He's just lost a hell of a lot of HP. From what was such a fantastic round now to one that looks almost beyond them.
I actually wonder, and I kind of want like not to, or someone to be able to respond to this in particular. I'd say Pimp as well, but I don't think he's on the desk next. Being a player, when you're on an underdog team like this and you're feeling really good and you're playing really well, do you think that leads you to make plays that you shouldn't in terms of like, okay, well, I really need to make a big play here? Well, normally, if you didn't feel that kind of pressure on you, you would just sit back.
Oh.
I feel like Torzy's doing that a little bit.
Yeah, speaking of big plays, RB has at least given them a chance within this round, although I do wonder if they're just going to want to save this. Like, you can kind of understand the scenario that the remaining 2 players are in. A 3 versus 2 retake. Not really looking too likely, and MIBR probably aren't even going to hunt these weapons down. They don't have that much money themselves. That's been sort of the bane of both teams' lives, is that it's mainly been a CT streak, and even during that streak, they didn't build up a huge amount of money. And backwards and forwards nature of the last few rounds is going to cost gamerzone quite a lot of finances. Still just checking to make sure nobody's going to be trying to ninja defuse that bomb, but they're on the other side of the map, and it will be MIBR getting their 10th on the board. But those are the sort of rounds that MIBR can't really expect to win too often, because that was like a ridiculously aggressive play coming out from the CT side. He just said, don't run down banana again.
Yeah, for good reason, you can see there. Just too many angles to clear there for RB. And of course, he had to get the final frag, and they're onto the chicken. 10-12, still in favor of gamerzone. And their buy-up, well, they got an AWP from last round, they got an SG from last round, they have some deagles to support. And Torzy is going to be actually playing towards the A site. Actually a big stack here and completely blotted out. He takes down KNG. Gonna go for the re-peek here. We'll expect a second player, and doesn't matter if he expects it or not, he gets the kill nonetheless, and that's gonna be exactly what they need to get themselves in this round. And a third as well, Torzy. Like I was saying before, when you're feeling hot, you feel like it puts more pressure on you to make those big plays happen. And we know what? He made the big play happen there. A quick triple kill for him. and potentially the 13th round on the board for gamerzone.
And Lucas, in the meantime, is going to try and put the pressure onto the B side. You can see the rotation coming back in.
Did he? Okay.
Sar has been pretty consistent in his ability to lock down these sites, and while a 2-on-2, but the weaponry favoring MIBR. Even going to go for a bit of a running boost to try and get him across. They're expecting someone in the corner. That really didn't work in the way that they were hoping it. A little bit flaccid. And while 30 seconds left on the clock for them to try and make some sort of play, Fallen is at least going to be able to pick off Torzy. That's the AWP gone. They spot the man in the corner. That's another one back in their favor. The AWP has been retrieved at least, but the peek back in hands Lucas another kill. And now it just all falls apart. One big play. But MIBR bounced back, and now it's left onto Arby. He needs 2 Deagle kills, and they know exactly where he is. May even just have to try and save that AWP and bring it into the next round. I think that's exactly what he's going to be going for. 25 seconds left for him to try this, and, well, he is going to have to save. Great recovery from Lucas and Fallen. That should have been a round slipping away from them and going to the hands of gamerzone, but peeking into the grasps of MIBR, it's always got its risks.
That's just unfortunate, too. I mean, to have those 3 kills come through out of Torzy, and then to have it like slip away just off the great play to Fallen and Lucas. But luckily they recover the ops, so they're able to donate that back to Torzy yet again. I mean, look at this, completely blinded up. The second shot comes through and just backs away into a third. And if you're Torzy, you're like, all right, I don't know what else I can do. Like, what else am I supposed to do in this round? Either way, you can see the composure out of MIBR getting themselves a step closer to tying things up, 11-12. As gamerzone take a quick timeout to discuss some things and figure out what they can maybe do differently here.
Yeah, this would be crushing if they let this slip away, especially in the way or the manner that just occurred with a round that looked like it should have been theirs, slipping away from them. Also, a couple of the players, or at least one of them, really struggling at the moment. Well, you could say the same for Taco, actually. A player on either side just unable to step up to the mark. And then you've got both Torzy and Fallen being the ones actually leading the way. Both teams will at least be able to get a 4-buy. This is what you want to see. The money available for either side. The AWP has sat ready and waiting, but the shot's not going to be connected, and a lot of map control already gained by MIBR. Looking like they might just go for a faster execution. They have no lurkers. They've got nobody waiting on the other side of the map. This is looking like a pure B setup.
Wonder what's going to happen. They're going to drop the smoke, but are MIBR going to push through it? Is Torzy going to stay on this side of CT spawn or not? Flash screens come through. The counter smokes, I don't think, have been thrown in, actually. So Molotov will come in to help cut off the reinforcements, but it doesn't seem to matter. Lucas gets the first kill. Torzy just needs to stay alive at the moment. Backs off in towards CT. Still have a lot of smokes left to use for MIBR, and it looks like gamerzone might just be saving off the bat.
Yeah, it's kind of depressing to see, but yeah, it's going to be the 4-man save coming out from gamerzone, knowing they need to keep their finances strong. And the T side is about to get their finances even stronger. 5 players likely to be surviving in this round, and all it took was a single opener from Lucas, and he has started to step up over the last few rounds. Definitely a confidence player, like when he gets rolling. And you have to remember, though, this is the first team, I think, in years where he hasn't been playing without his twin brother. So maybe some things to adapt there to get him comfortable. But whenever we go into the pause time or the freeze time, he seems very happy within this roster, which is always a good thing.
Well, luckily saving 4 weapons, gamerzone's able to re-equip themselves into this round. Crazy Day are going to be... Well, he's got full utility as well, so it actually works out pretty damn well for him. But at 12 apiece, I think MIBR are on the hunt for more kills, on the hunt for more rounds, and on the hunt to finish off this map. because they are easily considered the favorites in this series. And look at the pace speed. Talked about the aggression out of Fer. He's able to get himself straight up in towards middle, wanting to push for more, and he actually might have an opportunity to go towards long. There's only one player there to defend, though we do have a rotate come in towards CT spawn.
Yeah, Farah's had a very disappointing second half. I think he was 11-4 in the first and is now 13-12, so fairly little impact coming in from him. And he was one of the players I expected to almost BM the guys from gamerzone. It's more been Lucas who's been able to get something done on this T side. The early aggression was more just an elaborate ruse, maybe trying to bait some rotations away, and Crazy Deer needs to start rotating back in the other direction. It's left solely onto Torzi. If there was any man on their team you'd want to have as the solo defender of this site, he is the one you'd want, but the likelihood is, with the smoke setup coming in, he'll probably get isolated.
No utility use for him either, so it's not like he's going to be able to stall for time. Crazy D is actually pushed up inside of the smoke. Lucas trying to go for the bomb plant. Crazy D going to push straight through, gets the first, gets the second as well. Kenji's going to shut him down. The bomb has not been planted. There's 14 seconds left to go here for MIBR to get this one planted down.
There we go, RB peeking over again. They catch the players as they're planting the bomb, but this time it goes down. It's left onto KNG, and he misses the shot. It is going to be another round back for gamerzone. Every time MIBR get close to taking themselves the lead, this Hungarian side bounces back.
Things are getting very tense here in Budapest. gamerzone up 1 round against MIBR. Economy out of the Brazilians. Not going to be too hindered as they're going to fully equip themselves back into this. KNG back on the AWP, the 3 SGs as well to support, and the 1 AK out of Fer.
Even still, this could be the most important round in this entire map, and it's going to be an aggressive push. The leg shot hit. Crazy doing a lot of the work. He found himself 2 kills and switched up, and he goes for more. What? Gets another headshot through the smoke and almost kills off Lucas. That could be enough to bring them forward into this match, maybe even help them close it out. It's left mainly onto Fallen to do the majority of the work here.
I just didn't expect Crazier to continue to push like that after getting the 2 quick kills. It's like, all right, you got a 5-on-3. Let's pick up the op from KNG. I like that. KNG has a Henny sticker on it, on his AWP. I think actually was dropped from Lucas, never mind. Anyways. Looks like the push might come back towards the B site, which you do have a 2-2 split out of gamerzone. Smoke's being thrown in. Molotovs as well. Is there any utility on the side of gamerzone to actually stop this push from happening? Torzi doesn't have anything except 7 points of health. And don't tell me they're going to do this again, this time with Fallen and Lucas.
It's the same. It's the same people who did it last time. They're in the same opportunity, but now Fallen is all that's left. The dunk onto Lucas. Here's enough as Corpse even landing on Fallen's head. Can he really bring this back? He has been fantastic throughout this map so far. They all come rotating through CT and just play it together exactly how they should do. It is going to be the cleanup. A bomb going down will at least mean that there's going to be another buy. Like, that was the big worry, if you're an MIBR fan, that the finances would really hit the wall here. It's going to be 14-12.
Well, we mentioned it before about Taco and Corey on 5 kills. They're still on 5 kills. I think that was about 2 or 3 rounds ago. Having a really unfortunate time in this match. But then again, it's 14-12 in favor of gamerzone. MIBR. They do have the money to buy here. I wonder what's going to happen, though, if gamerzone win this round. Torzi still on the AWP. Yeah, again, this push out of Crazy Deer. Second one, I was like, okay, that's good. But to go aggressively for the third, I never expected that. And maybe MIBR didn't either because he was able to get that 3rd kill.
Oh, even this purchase, the added bomb plant money definitely helped them out a little bit, but they've still got only a Deagle onto Taco, although it's probably more important that he has the utility available to him anyway, because he hasn't been able to do too much within this game so far. He said himself he's possibly the support role.
Yeah. Still figuring it out.
Work it out as we go. Maybe he'll become the primary AWP soon.
Big kill out of Torzy.
Yeah, he really has been fantastic throughout this one. 17 years old and giving... I don't even know if you want to call it a run for their money anymore. They're winning. They're the ones taking charge of this game. And he's the one leading in that frag tally. We're going to see the rotation, but just look at the push all the way down the bottom of Banana. Like, there's so much information already gathered by Craze. Like, he's managed to find that at least there's nobody here, but they haven't actually rotated anybody off yet. So there's still a good opportunity for MIBR with a slight advantage on this site.
Still surprised to not see a rotate come through. Arby gets a couple of shots in his direction. Maybe the rotation's actually be coming into a flank. Arby gets the kill onto Fur. Corey and Graveyard just waiting for anyone to peek their head into his crosshair. Torzy takes down KNG. The bomb is actually sneak its way towards the B site, which if he just runs, actually I was gonna say if he just runs, he's gonna make it. The problem is now Torzy's rotated back toward, or what's rotating back towards B. Instead he heads back towards A. So we're gonna have an afterplant situation for Fallen here with the Galil up against 5 players.
Like, it's extra money. That's all I'm looking at this as. Like, there's no way that he manages to get a 1 versus 5. Even if he had an AWP, maybe I give him 1%. Because he's got a Galil, I'm giving him 0.01%. Like, it's just not happening. You can already see, I think, is it Torzy holding the angle? They're all going to be running around together. This is just smart. I like this. They're in such an advantageous position, but they're still all going to be running through together. Like, play this in a way that, well, there's no way that you get a 5-man spray down with a Galil. It's only going to be based off time. 15 seconds left. Maybe that's the only chance that he has, but they're already starting the defusal. In fact, they're getting on it a little bit late. If he can get this kill, maybe there's a chance. They've got to get on the bomb. They've got to get on it soon. I think they've just about got that defusal, but that came way too close, and oh my God.
So what was that about? Fallen 0, or was it 0.001%?
Like, why was no one watching that smoke? Come on. And technically they didn't win.
Almost did though. That 0.001% became very real there. But 15 map point here for gamerzone. Up against MIBR, we're having a timeout come in for them just to talk some things over. The economy out of MIBR, well, can't really call it much of an economy, unfortunately.
It's rubbish. They got to go to the jumble sale for this one. We've got a Mac 10, a CZ, a Galil.
What's the Atlas for? What's the Atlas for? I know what it is, but what is it for? What's the book for? Maybe it's just a notebook and he's carrying like strats in it?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought he wants to put Hungry on the map. Hey.
I'm just going to carry on. Well, here we go.
Well, luckily the round started, so we can.
A complete mix buy of weapons in for MIBR. Complete surprise from the side of gamerzone. 1 round away from taking the first map against MIBR. A team that we really know nothing about and potentially about to beat some previous major champions. Quick rush through RB. That's as easy as it gets. 2 kills for him. And it's left on to just Lucas and Fallen, the deadly duo that's done most of the work, but they can do nothing in this scenario. It's going to be the Hungarian side to take themselves that first map. And what a start. What a way to show themselves at this tournament in their hometown.
Hell of a game. Torsen's got to be so happy about how well he played there. His op almost single-handedly helped carry the team through this one. MIBR have to really wonder what happened in that game. But honestly, let's be fair. gamerzone, they earned that match. Yeah. They played damn well.
there were so many standout individual moments across the entire map. We could think of the hold out of Hussar over towards the A site, the 3K that he was able to get. I think he even got a 4th in there, if not mistaken. The fall was the last one alive. So well done by them, and honestly, they have to be so thrilled. But the problem is, they're not done just yet. That's just the first map. It's a best-of-3 series. They have to do it all again.
Yeah, that was their map choice, but even still, like, they managed to break down the double AWP setup, which looked formidable at one point. Like, there was a point in this game where I think Fallen was like 13-3 or something like that, and he was just absolutely decimating them. They came back from that. Like, KNG was playing fairly well. So it's not even like we look at this and go, oh, okay, like MIBR's players just didn't turn up. Okay, sure, Taco had a pretty bad game, but other than that, everybody still seemed to have their moments, but they grinded it out, and they just looked like the better team in that map.
Well, we're going to go to the desk. I'm actually really curious to see how wide of a smile Drowland's going to have on his face after seeing him take that first map.
Not very wide by the looks of it.
He's faking it now. He's faking it now that you've put him on the spot, I think. But man, oh man, what did we just witness? That's this. You said this isn't even the team that normally represents Hungary. These young guys apparently are surprising everyone. MIBR just lost 16-12 on Inferno.
Look, best of 3, so obviously a bit early to celebrate, but it was a fantastic start to this series. And what I really liked is, look, they promised us innovative strats and stuff, and we saw that, right? That nade stack towards apartments on the T side, it was wonderful. But what was really cool is that they beat them with just good textbook Counter-Strike. So like the wraps, the executes, the takes, it was all real nice.
I thought it was excellent to watch. I thought their retakes on the site as well. Flashes were on point. They took B time and time again.
Yeah, the only time you got a little scared was the 1-on-5 with Fallen Alive and last second defuse. I don't think they should have been that close.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a lot of praise has to be given here. On the same token, if you want to be a bit of a negative Nelly here for MIBR, still, I mean, none of the things that they were really good at before, where, you know, when they know how their opposition is economically, for example. No, there's a couple, an op and an M4 in play, the rest of them having pistols only. What do? They just go one by one and get wrecked by an AWP instead of using the superior utility they have. The kind of team play that they could be showing, trading, you know, 10 out of 10 times they would be getting to the bomb side without much issues. But instead, they kind of wrecked themselves in those situations.
Wrecked themselves, but where was Taco? Where was Fur? I mean, Taco, 5 kills in this game. That's unacceptable in my opinion. You know, he supposed he was the support player. Well, I suppose he's not even on the team right now. Wasn't even in the server.
Cheerleading squad.
And Fur, 14 kills. You were just hyping up, you know, his stats in Moscow. None of that showed through.
Right, I think that just comes to show that what I was talking about earlier, that this team isn't quite set in stone yet in terms of like in-game prowess. There's still a lot of uncertainty going on, and of course, Inferno is one of their bans, so we did highlight this map as something that gamerzone potentially could surprise on, and this is what happened, right?
For surprise for me would have been a 16-12 win for MIBR, 16-13. This is something you didn't really imagine, right? But if you look at the big picture in this series, there's still 2 maps to come here that MIBR should be really comfortable on. So, you know, if they can just play anywhere near what they're capable of, they should still have this in the bag.
And those 2 maps are Train and Mirage. You have to focus as well on the opping of Torzi. That can be a factor, again, on a map like a Mirage. Maybe not quite as linear as Inferno, but Inferno's not exactly a 2-sided op map. Mirage is.
Yeah, I mean, Jason was throwing a question towards us, actually, as he was casting. If you're a new player coming into these situations, does that putting you in a spot where you're trying to make plays a little bit too much? And yes, you do sometimes, maybe. You kind of get carried away with the situation. But I thought he was withstanding the storm really well. I think he was pacing himself well.
And I got ahead of myself because I said Mirage. That's the 3rd map.
Yes.
We've got Train next, which definitely has op spots. We know that MIBR had one of the I think it's the 4th most dominant team run and the 3rd in the modern era, sort of after NIP was way ahead at the start on Train when they went 17-0 on it. I think the 2 better ones are obviously Astralis now on Overpass and Nuke, but this is a map that they're very familiar with, the Brazilian side.
Yeah, and that's why I said it's like a bit too early to celebrate, because right now we're heading into MIBR territory, right? They played in Moscow, they beat Na'Vi on it, and then they tied with NIP. So it's certainly a map that they're already familiar with this roster, and they have a very strong setup on the A side because they have both KNG and Fallen playing there. And for example, against NIP, that was a fantastic setup with one watching Connector, one watching Ivy. So that's something that is going to be a challenge for gamerzone.
Yeah, the caveat is, though, they have to get to that city side first, right? I mean, they're going to start on the T side, I believe, on this map. MIBR will. So It's a map that can definitely snowball the wrong way if you know, the Hungarian boys have done their homework, and if they find the antidote, it could get really dicey in the beginning, and then things can get out of control.
And the T side used to be the strong suit for MIBR, though, but that was when you had a guy like Cold who could walk in with Fur and open up sights single-handedly with an AK. You don't have as much rifle potential anymore on this team. We talk about the double up, but I don't know if Lucas can bring that. I don't know if Taco, playing the way he is right now, can even step up into those shoes. It's a lot of pressure on Fur.
Yeah, and they definitely need to step up. Like, as you said, Taco and Fur, bit of a missing element here on the Inferno game, and those are the ones who need to step up and carry the team forward on that train map.
Yeah, for me, I feel like, you know, if it does go in the favor of gamerzone in the beginning, if they start, you know, getting a 5-0 lead, for example, does MIBR, with the limited experience with this 5-man lineup, have the capability to, you know, kind of change the pace, maybe be a little bit faster or slow it down, try to bait nades to make it harder for the CTs to hold the choke points, right? That's the question marks that we're playing with.
Mm-hmm. Well, with that, I think we'll take a break and get ready for Train, because there's a lot of questions to be answered. Can MIBR bounce back after being stunned on game one by gamerzone, who are definitely in very much that, the zone? We'll be back in just a minute for Train.